Shedeur Sanders dropped a mini movie on YouTube. Let's talk about it on this episode of the BJack 70 Show. Welcome back to the BJack 70 Show. I'm your host, Brandon Jackson, and it's been a while since I've seen you guys. I'm happy to be back. Took a little break, a longer break than expected. I was trying to hold out until LeBron James came back to Cleveland, but as of recording, it hasn't happened yet. So I had to come back, talk about Shedeur Sanders, talk about the mini movie that he posted on YouTube. Let's get into it. So it was a, I think, a very well done little off-season documentary type thing. If you haven't seen it, I'm just gonna give you the broad strokes of it real quick. Um, there's a section of it like throughout where Shedeur Sanders is sitting down and he's just speaking to the camera. Um, there could be somebody asking him questions off screen, but it's just him speaking to the camera, talking about his mindset, how he felt last year going into this year, just kind of what's in his head, how he feels about things. Not really specifically, but like just him personally. And then there's clips of him working out, making breakfast, more working out, him talking with a couple different people while working out. But it's really, the focus is truly on him, his experience, his mindset, his thought process about being the best football player, being the best person, being the best human that he could possibly be. It was about 18 minutes long, and I really appreciate off season videos like this. I'm when it comes to NFL player, and at this point now college football player off season content, like day in the lives, or little mini movies, or like even them just working out. I am a junkie for that type of content. So I'm not just watching it because it's Shedeur Sanders. I'm watching it because I truly love this content. You can look at my YouTube algorithm and you'll see this content all over the places. Like Devontae Smith, it's Malachi Tony, it's Cam Ward, it's even Darian Mensah from Miami. Like I'm really locked in to this sort of content from football players in the off season. And the off season, like right now, is the perfect time to post something like this. Like we're a couple weeks away from training camp, couple weeks removed from like OTAs and all of that, media circus around that. So like this is the perfect time. Nothing's happening. Truly, for people like me, nothing really to talk about. That's why I was gone for a few weeks. But this is great. This is great. Something for us to talk about. Something to get us to talk about Shedeur Sanders even more. To get us excited for the quarterback battle for the Cleveland Browns going forward into training camp. It's a nice little table setter for that. But I have a couple reactions to some things that were said. Nothing crazy, but let's get into those now. So first things first, I need to get out in front of this because there's going to be a lot of media that watch this short film, and they're gonna call this out. But I need to get in front of this. If you know, Shedeur in this video is wearing his AFC Pro Bowl hat, and people are gonna feel some kind of way about that. I'm telling you, there's nothing to it. It just matches the fit. He's wearing a red t-shirt, black shorts, white, red, and black cleats, and the Pro Bowl hat is like gray and red. So take that for what you will. It doesn't mean anything. It just matches the fit. Just matches the fit he had on. So don't try to read into that. I promise you. But in this film, he is essentially calling out the media and calling them out not in a boisterous way, like not in a malicious way at all. Because he kind of says, well, he does say he doesn't respect people who talk down on others for financial gain. Um, and that can be interpreted however you want it, but essentially you can gather the meaning and the tone from the way he's speaking. Like, he just doesn't respect people who you don't like. Whoever, if you're in the media, you don't have a relationship with him, you don't know him, you don't know what's going on behind the scenes, you don't know who he is as a person, you don't know who he is, his work ethic as a player, there's no reason for you to just talk negative about his character. Now, he is an athlete. He's a football player. I know that he knows that we're going to talk about the product on the field, and we're going to talk about what we've seen on film. That is just a fact of life. That's what's going to happen. And I don't think he's talking about people commenting about the negative plays that he makes. I believe he's speaking about people attacking his character, people attacking his work ethic, people attacking him for not knowing the playbook or not being able to read a defense. That's what he's talking about. People that claim to know his character that do not know him personally. And I would agree with him. I would side with him on that fact. There's no reason for people to be attacking his character or attacking anybody else's character as a professional athlete. That's unwarranted. Now, across the NFL, across the Cleveland Browns team, there's people that you can talk about their character based on what we know that has played out in the legal system. But as far as somebody like Shedeur Sanders, he's never been in trouble. There's never been any type of article to come out that said he's a bad teammate, that said he was anything less than a great teammate and somebody that you would want on your roster. There's been nothing that's come out to attack his character, other than members of the media saying otherwise, saying, oh, we don't know if he can be a backup quarterback. He might get traded. Oh, he doesn't work hard. Oh, he doesn't know the playbook. He doesn't know how to read a defense. There's people all over the media, local media, national media, people like me on YouTube, people on TikTok, everywhere. There's people talking about him in that fashion. And I try to pride myself on somebody who was a former athlete and knows that these are people too, and I try not to attack people's character. I will talk about what I see from them on the football field, or if I am talking about their character, I'm going to try to do it in a positive manner, unless they've shown in front of God and everybody, they've shown something for me to critique, essentially. So that's what he's calling out. He is not calling out anybody by name. He's not calling anybody out specifically. Not even really doing it maliciously. He just is saying he doesn't respect the Skip Bayless-ification of what media has come. It rewards negativity. You'll get more views. You'll get more engagement if you're negative versus being positive. And Shedeur Sanders is the number one. Well, maybe not the number one. LeBron James is probably the number one uh, example of that. But Shedeur Sanders in 2026 is very high up on the list in that regard. Um, so he says, he understands people have to feed their families however they do it. He says, I can't get mad at them, but I won't respect it. I won't respect it. And that's fair. That's fair. Like completely honest to I agree with that mindset, taking that stance, knowing it's gonna be here, regardless of if it's the right thing, if it's the wrong thing, if it's warranted, if it's not warranted, it's going to exist. There are going to be people that are negative, that are positive, all across the spectrum. And he's not mad at it, but not going to respect it if you don't have a relationship with the person you're talking about and you're speaking as if you do. So I think that was really important. And I'm glad that we get insight into what athletes are thinking, how they're feeling. And I truly appreciate this from somebody like Shedeur because there's so many people that talk about Shedeur Sanders, myself included, and we're projecting how we feel onto him, where he comes out with this short film and is telling us how he feels, how he's feeling in these moments, how he's feeling personally. So I want to move on to the last thing I want to talk about, and again, it's not a whole lot to talk about because it was 18 minutes of footage, but he really talked about um how much the last year weighed on him and how that affected him. And I appreciate him being vulnerable and allowing us to know how it affected him. Now he didn't get into detail, like he didn't say like, oh, this specifically hurt me or this specifically, you know, was affecting me, but he just said the last year, the last year. And we can kind of gather what he means by that. I mean, it was the whole draft process. It was him being drafted in the fifth round when everybody in the world thought he would go higher. Even if you didn't think he was a first round pick, you didn't think he was a fifth round pick. So that was included. Him getting drafted by the Browns, fourth string quarterback, not getting any reps during the offseason, not getting any reps in training camp, starting the preseason game, going back to third on the depth chart. It was a long year before he got to, establish himself as a quarterback in the NFL. It was a long year. Somebody that's a fan of his, it was an extremely long year to watch from the outside. So I can only imagine what it was like for him actually living it. Um, but the way he was talking about how he felt, I feel like again, it did weigh on him. He did kind of know about, he knew what the media was saying about him, knew everybody was talking about him. He said earlier his name is an algorithm and everyone is a content creator. That was a bar. That was a bar. So he's aware of what people are saying, but he's trying not to take stock into it, trying not to consume that content, trying not to know what these people are saying, trying to just keep his head on straight and be around the people that he knows have his best interest at heart. His family, his circle of family and friends and people that he trusts, which I can respect because he kind of alluded to when things are going well at Colorado, he's on top of the world. All these people are praising him. He's having success, and there's people around. There's people reaching out. There's people talking to him. There's people want to be around him. And then over the past year, it's not going so well. You know, your people are talking bad about you. Your draft stock is falling. You're a fifth round pick. You know, you're not really getting on the field. And he's, you know, kind of alluded to those same people that were with him when he was up, when he was down, were nowhere to be found. So, again, like this is, you know, his real life. This is his vulnerability. He's really experiencing this in real time, and I appreciate him again for, you know, allowing us to share in that with him, because there are a lot of people that truly support him from afar. A lot of us, you know, that don't know him but just are fans of him. We are there. And somebody like me, I'm on here, I'm talking about football. I'm gonna praise it when it deserves praise, and I'm gonna critique it when it deserves getting critiqued. I truly pride myself in trying to be objective on here. Um, I'll tell you, when he threw that deep pass to Isaiah Bond, his first start against the Raiders, I was on cloud nine. I couldn't, I was so happy to see it. But when he threw the interception, I'm talking about, the interception against the Pittsburgh Steelers, that was maybe one of the worst throws I've ever seen in my whole life. So, we will talk about the good, we will talk about the bad as it comes. But this was, it's 18 minutes. I would very highly suggest you go watch it if you're a Browns fan, if you're a Shedeur fan. If you don't like him, don't watch it. This is not for you. This is for the supporters. This is for people that feel positive about Shedeur Sanders. And it's not like, there's not really much to talk about, like, as far as, the Browns as a team, like the quarterback competition. It's really just about Shedeur Sanders, about his mindset and how he wants to strive for greatness moving forward. Um, and that's something I can appreciate. That's something I can appreciate truly. So I would suggest that you go watch it. But that's another episode of the BJack 70 Show. I appreciate you guys being here. Go ahead, hit that like button. Go ahead, hit that subscribe button. And we're back now. Took a long time off, took a few weeks off, recharged. I'm rejuvenated. I'm re-energized. Got a lot of good content coming this training camp. We'll talk about that more later. But again, thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video.